Welcome to The Verge Live for Google I/O 2014. I'm Josh Topolsky.
And I'm Ross Miller. And if you've seen us do this before, you know the drill. We're going to talk about all the news, relevant and irreverent, about Google I/O Developer Conference 2014.
Relevant and irreverent.
See, I like that.
I don't know. I don't know how much irreverent kind of stuff I'm going to be able to bring today.
We'll do what we can. And hopefully later on, if we can get a hold of them, our San Francisco crew who was at the event will be joining us.
Yeah. I mean, if they're still in, we don't know what kind of condition they're in because the I/O keynote was long.
It was long.
It was arduous. It was
fraught with protests.
There were protesters. There were long periods of extremely boring coding on stage.
Oh my god!
And I know. I don't want to get into it. I know that everybody's like, it's a developers conference, but you know what? It really is so much more than that, and I think that you guys all know in your heart that this is Google's chance to talk about their new stuff and how great they're doing and blah, blah, blah. I mean, look, Apple just did a developers conference, and there was some nerdy stuff going on there.
Yeah, and it was boring.
But they had a flow.
Yeah.
I mean, by comparison, like this is like, if Apple was let's say WWDC was like I think a strong 8. For an Apple presentation, or a presentation in general.
Relative to all presentations.
This is like a 6, 5.5, 6.
I wouldn't go that low. I mean, there's a lot to talk about.
You wouldn't? Well, that's.
I mean, the coding stuff was boring at the end, but they did front load with a bunch of stuff. It's like Android L, Android Wear,
We should talk about.
TV.
Did they not say the name of Android?
No, it's
they
just
didn't
L.
Announce. Okay, so let's go through some of these things.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm getting some weird pirate stuff happening with this sleeve of my shirt. It's like kind of a billowy pirate situation. And I don't like that. That's a little bit better. I'm going to tip this table.
You are definitely going to tip the table.
Okay, so here's the thing. So Android L, which is the next version of Android, and frankly, there's this whole refresh. Chrome, I think Google on the web, Chrome OS, Google on the web, and Android have like a whole new visual language, which they're calling Material Design.
Right.
And we actually saw Material Design leaked just before or just as they were starting the conference. I think it's a progression of what Google has already been doing in
with the Google Now,
with Google Now and Google Glass, and frankly with Android. But it is to me, this looks like a completely end-to-end redesign of every element of the interface. I mean, it's really, it really is. I mean, there are clear similarities, but it looks like they've touched pretty much every single thing in the interface here, and sort of painted it with this new brush, or new paint. I don't know. They used a brush and paint. At any rate, it looks really good. I think. I mean, I feel like this is, when people talk about flat design, this to me feels so much more modern. I mean, you know how I feel about iOS 7.
Right.
I've never been a big fan of.
Just to update that, after iOS 8 came out, like, do you any changes to that opinion? Are you a little more warmed up to it?
I mean, iOS 8 had some very minor visual tweaks, but I mean, overall, I mean, I think if you look at these side by side, to me, what Google's doing with design looks so much more forward thinking and so much more modern and feels so much more complete in a way than iOS 7. I mean, the iconography, the color schemes they're using, and frankly, some of the interface ideas, I just feel like is a much more lively, much more modern take on what a mobile interface should be. Actually, what's interesting about this is that it's not just a mobile interface. They're looking at this as this kind of holistic, it's a web interface, it's a tablet interface, it's a phone interface, and I think that is informing a lot of what they're doing, and it actually is improving what they're doing. You can actually get a little taste of this. They have and the part of the platform they're building this stuff on is something they call Polymer, which I'm jumping around a little bit, but there's actually a quiz they have online right now that you can go. Well, you can go play around with it. It works brilliantly in Chrome. People were like, yeah, this doesn't function in IE 8 or whatever, but that's probably not where Google was intending for you
Internet
to use
Explorer,
it.
no.
Yeah, but anyhow, they have this Polymer quiz. I tweeted it earlier. Just look at my feed. Just go through my Twitter feed. I don't like this shot at all. What's going on with my hair in this shot? There's like some weird, some like tendrils, some tentacles of. Anyhow, it's not important.
Hair looks
Go
fine.
to Joshua Topolsky
good.
at Joshua Topolsky on Twitter and check out my feed. You'll eventually find the link for the Polymer quiz. Anyhow, but so there's a lot to unpack. But there's also this is not. I mean, this is not the craziest event ever. Okay, wait, actually, let's talk about what happened at the end of it really quickly. So at the end of this event, I'm just jumping ahead. At the end of the event, they were like, we're giving all the developers here this cardboard.
Yes.
This Google Cardboard is what they're calling it.
What the hell is that?
So Google Cardboard is a like basically a cardboard craft virtual reality headset that you put your phone. No, you put your phone into it, and you can do VR projects with it.
Okay,
it's actually really awesome. I think that we have a post going up on it, or maybe it already is up. Anyhow, it's a very odd. Can we get it up on screen? Can we get a shot of the cardboard? This cardboard
see if we can find it real quick.
Device. They're actually. It's really quite impressive. They have a kind of a sub-site for it. This is just us searching for things. This is always good. This is good TV.
Exciting. There we go. There we go.
Can you go? And is there a source link on this? Can we just see if there's the cardboard?
We are literally backseat browsing right now. Compelling
That's
entertainment.
The one. But click on that. Click on that. Check this out.
Okay.
So scroll down. Yeah, no. Okay, now scroll up slowly.
You scroll too fast,
man.
Yeah,
so you can see how the cardboard is. I like how I'm just like controlling a person's hands virtually. So you can see here how this thing actually gets constructed.
Okay.
And I have to say, it's a pretty cool, weird thing for Google to give out to people. And you see the phone getting inserted there.
I mean, basically, this works as the Oculus does. It's like it's a flat panel, and then there's two lenses.
Yeah. Turns out like you don't need all that Oculus crap. you just need a cardboard box that you can slide your phone into. Right.
And two lenses of a certain
Why have we been wasting
shape.
all this time, money, and energy?
It's disposable.
On this bullshit. Yeah. When we could just be sliding into a cart and slide into cardboard.
And with this, you can take outside. I mean, people will look at you funny, but you do have a space for the camera, so maybe you could
Does it have a strap? Is there something you can use to strap on that?
I'm sure you could just build a strap.
I don't know. Anyhow, all right, let's go through the announcements here.
Okay. The first big one, the one that seems to be prevailing throughout most of the I/O thing, was Android L, which is the developer preview. Not a candy name yet.
Yeah.
The official one will probably be like Lollipop or Lavender.
I don't understand what's going on at Google that they couldn't decide. You know, they've had literally years. They're like, hey, we're going to use this naming scheme where it's going to be some kind of dessert, and we're going to go through the alphabet. So you could have come up with every single name for every version of Android day one. So what is the issue that they don't have the L name? Maybe they're just calling it Android L. Maybe they're just going to a really, because they have simplified the design. They have cleaned it up considerably.
But they have this big, and Google headquarters has this big lawn full of candy ornaments,
yeah.
and like.
Well, now it's going to be a huge letter.
Just a huge letter
like
L.
A gigantic L.
We're moving to the Sesame Street styling here. Just a giant cartoon letter L.
I don't know. So what do you think it's going to be? Lollipop?
Lollipop, lemon.
Let's think of some things it could be.
Yeah, if they like,
Lollipop.
Lemonhead.
Lemonhead is a trademarked product.
But Kit Kat is too.
Licorice.
Licorice
could be one.
That would be good.
They could just call it something like lime. Could just be just a citrus.
They didn't do key lime pie. So.
There's a certain. Oh yeah, they didn't do key lime pie. That's true. Is there an issue? Is there something going on? There's some behind the scenes stuff happening here. Should I be worried? What?
Lorna Doone.
Lorna Doone. Is that an actual dessert? It's a cookie, apparently. I'm being told that Lorna Doone is a cookie.
Wait, you went to the dramatic hand to the ear look on this time?
I'm getting a report now that Lorna Doone is actually a cookie. So you can see here's a great example of the what is it called? Material design.
Yeah.
And some of these notification enhancements are really interesting. They've got they've always had actionable notifications for the past couple of versions of of Android.
Right.
Wait, did they introduce them in KitKat?
No. It was before that.
It was Jelly
Gingerbread.
Jelly bean. At any rate, they now have a whole new realm of actionable notification. Oh, somebody just said Lifesaver. They tweeted at me.
Lifesaver would be
That's
really
pretty
good.
But so material design is a big deal.
Yeah.
And then they've got this Polymer project where they're showing how you can really build one thing across platforms, which looks very impressive. I thought that it was, it's actually a nice forward-thinking concept from Google, and they've always been sort of playing this game of, is it native, is it web, and they're clearly trying to get those things together, especially with Sundar running, he was running the Chrome OS project, Chrome and Chrome OS. He moved over to Android. Everybody was talking about how they're going to bring these things together, and they did get into that during this presentation.
Yeah, I mean, this is with one exception. There was this all Android event. That one Android event was really. The one Chrome thing was, you can do Android apps and you can log in with Android. They're still merging these ideas together.
Right. No, I mean, and so I think the visual refresh is good. I feel like that was strong. Then they announced, they talked more about Android Wear.
Okay.
We've already seen a lot about Android Wear.
Right.
You basically have these watches that people have been showing off, and essentially it's Google Now cards on your wrist.
Yes, and it's a little more. It seems a little more contextually aware. Like it knows where you are. You can set reminders, say I'm home.
Which may be something you want, and maybe something you don't want.
Right.
But I'm having a lot of problems with the sleeve right now.
Your pirate sleeve.
I did a lot of. My pirate sleeve is causing me serious.
Okay, so start all the way out, and
what
then
I
just
want
do
to
it
do
based
is
on
what I want to do is I just want to loosen up here a little bit.
Okay.
I don't know. Is this working for me?
TV. No.
I feel like this is working. Okay.
It's good. Hair's good, by the way. Hair's good.
Okay, hair, as long as the hair is intact,
Yep.
I'm a happy guy. We didn't really see anything new with Android Wear, but I think the big announcement today was that Samsung's making an Android Wear watch.
Not only is it making it, it's coming out soon.
It's coming out soon. You can order it right now. Mm-hmm. They were like, well, I guess we'll do one.
Why not?
I mean, why wouldn't we? We've got these. What is their product called?
Galaxy Gear.
Galaxy Gear. They're like, we've got this Galaxy Gear. These shells sitting around. Might as well
put something else on it.
Throw Android Wear on it and see what happens.
Is that what it is? It's not new hardware at all. It's just I didn't get a good shot of it myself.
It looks a lot like the Gear.
Okay.
It looks a lot like the Galaxy Gear. And then the LG G Watch.
Right.
Just rolls off the tongue. What are you getting for Christmas? Oh, the LG G Watch.
Which, I'm sorry, it's ugly as hell. It looks like a Casio calculator watch.
I mean, it looks like a square digital watch.
Right.
It's not. I wouldn't say it's ugly as hell. It's not attractive as hell.
Not attractive as hell. Okay.
So those are both available. Those are both available to order today.
Right.
And do they say when they're shipping? Do we know? We don't. I don't think we know when they're shipping yet.
Later this year.
And then,
if you want the pretty one, the Moto 360.
Well, the Moto 360 is going to be available later in the summer, and there was just an audible disappointment in the audience when they announced that was the case. But they're giving everybody they're basically giving away 360s to everybody there.
Right. When they're available. Right.
Not right now. Today they get a piece of cardboard.
You get a voucher and a cardboard.
They get a voucher and cardboard, but in the future they'll have an actual device.
Right.
So that's kind of a big deal. Then they did Android Auto. I'm just barreling through these. Am I moving too quickly?
I don't think
There's
so.
a lot of stuff. They did Android Auto, which... Now let me get this straight. So Android Auto, the way it works is...
I'm taking a little bit of a step back because I'm not a car person at all.
So the way it works is you have to get a car that has Android Auto installed on the head unit.
Already installed.
It's part of the...
Okay.
I mean, I'm not sure I fully understand this. I'm asking.
I
Feel
don't
free
know.
to tweet at me if you know better than I do.
I'm sure we'll be able to.
But you need to go get a car that has Android Auto in the dash. Then you sync it, you connect it to you, Bluetooth it to your phone.
Right.
And it pulls the data off of your phone.
But only Android.
Yeah, Android. No,
Yeah.
I don't think it works with iOS. No, it must. No, I guess it doesn't.
I don't know.
It probably doesn't work with iOS. At any rate, it actually looks really intuitive.
Right.
And really nice. It looks way nicer than CarPlay.
Yes.
In my opinion. I think it's a much more attractive interface, and also it's Google Maps. So there's a guy in a Verge shirt in the audience. I like that. One of the limited edition Verge shirts, actually.
That's a
but
true fan.
It uses Google Maps for navigation, which is awesome. And now that Google Maps incorporates Waze data in it, that's super handy.
Yeah.
So this would obviously be this is my interface of choice if I had to choose between the two
But
right now.
my problem with all these auto ones, again, this is speaking completely of ignorance. I haven't driven a car in about a year.
It's wonderful.
I'm sure it is.
It's incredible. You can go anywhere.
Out,
You can just go out on the road, hit the road.
See trees, which has been.
It's
I live in
really
New York, so it's
something.
been a while. No, but like, when you buy the car, you're buying this like system. How do you update it? Like, how do you actually?
It's updated. It's updated. I think so. Somebody just tweeted at me. Let me see. I mean, this could be complete fabrication. Let me see what they're saying. It says the head unit support a display protocol, not specifically Android Auto. It runs from your phone plugged in via USB. This is what Dylan Staley just said to me, and he could be a complete liar. We don't know. But if that's true, I mean, here's the deal. I just got a new car.
Right.
I can't use this. An Audi.
An Audi.
Q5. I got a family. I have a family now.
All right, y'all judge. He's a family.
Don't judge me. I have a family. I'm a family man. And I needed a luxury vehicle to tool around with my family in.
I'm sure it looks nice. I'm looking it up.
It is a nice looking. I didn't actually want to get, if I can be honest with you, it's a crossover, or whatever they call these small SUVs.
Okay.
I didn't really want to get an SUV, but what I wanted was a wagon, a station wagon.
Right.
Because station wagons are cool.
This looks good.
But I mean, this is we're really going down a rabbit hole here. Is that what you want to do?
Of course.
Okay. I wanted to get the Audi Allroad, which is kind of an awesome little wagon. Except the Audi Allroad is based on the A4 chassis, and the A4 chassis has like no leg room, very little leg room. It has less. It had less leg room in the back than my Volkswagen Golf.
Okay.
Okay. So it would be a step backwards in terms of leg room for the rear passengers. aka members of my family.
Right.
My growing family.
Well, one of them will not care about legroom for a while.
That's true, but anyhow, they grow up. They grow up faster than you think. And so long and short is I ended up buying it.
Okay, but you don't think you'll ever be able to like
about it.
This?
That's the all road. I did not get that.
Okay, I'll say so. This luxury minivan here, you don't think you'll be able to add?
Not a minivan. What is going on? What is this? There's a thing right here. It's not a minivan. It's an SUV.
Ooh, those things. Okay.
It's a crossover, which is a BS way of saying small SUV. Minivan. Okay, so anyhow, apparently, I'm hoping. Okay, so now I'm getting conflicting reports.
Okay.
Software's already in the car. I think here's the. Oh yeah! Oh my God! Somebody just mentioned the water glass looked like it was about to fall, and they weren't. They were right. They were 100% right.
That's amazing.
Anyhow, so my complaint is that I can't do anything about Android Wear Android Auto in my car.
Right.
Android Wear I can get in my car because I can just wear an Android Wear device when I get into the car. But so that's a little annoying, right? Somebody needs to come up with a solution where you can get this into your car without having to get a new car.
Is it just putting your phone on the dashboard?
Is that, well, I mean that's what I do now. So maybe that's a problem that Google can solve for us, but they probably can't solve it immediately. So they announced Android Auto. Mm-hmm. Well, they had already announced Android Auto. They just kind of gave us more detail on it.
Right, and I'm jumping again too. Also, but that was the only auto thing they mentioned. There was no self-driving cars. And the weird Google was not here today, which was kind of a disappointment.
Where?
In I/O, there was like weird Google, just like.
Weird Google.
Yeah, no ATAP,
I thought you were saying
no
it was weird Google wasn't there, and I was thinking that doesn't make any sense because it's a Google event. Very upsetting to hear. But yeah, there is not a lot of weird stuff.
No.
This is a chilled out. In comparison to Apple, in terms of WWDC, this was like a chilled out, laid back, not really in your face. What was that? I didn't like that. Is that you doing a Larry Page impersonation in my ear? A lot of shenanigans going on in the control room right now. Yeah, they were, and then so they did that. Yeah, then they showed off Android apps
for Chrome.
So I mean, no one understands this yet. You can run an Android app in a window on a Chromebook.
Right. So I think a little bit of backstory. Andy Rubin kept Android very separate from the rest of Google. Chrome was its own thing, and at some point they started to merge. There was a Chrome browser for Android. Android was going to laptops a little bit, and then around that same time, Andy Rubin moved over to robots while Sundar Pichai got Android and Chrome. There was talk about putting them together. He said, "I'm going to keep them separate," but now we are starting to see them merge a little bit, with Android being the dominant force here.
Yeah, if you say so. That's what you want to believe. I'm not going to stop you. No, but this is an early version.
Yeah.
But I will say it is a great idea.
Oh, yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. And I love the idea that you basically can run these, you're running these windowed on a Chromebook.
Yes.
So to me, this is kind of a huge deal. Now, I'm assuming, and I don't know, does this mean I can Yeah, it means, well, you can multitask. Obviously, you've got a browser here.
Right.
But can you run several apps at a time? Can I run like my Twitter app and Evernote while I'm running a Chrome browser?
And you could do.
You see here's Vine, and it's basically running. It's running off of a device, right? Or is this being run on the platform?
I can't tell if this is being mirrored or if it's a part of that. That was first a little unclear.
It wasn't clear, and so I think that. So anyhow, but the interesting part is that you've got real native. Now you have a real native app environment
one way or another
for Chrome, and so this is running off of the webcam. What he's seeing there. So it's running on. I mean, it's basically running on the platform.
Or at least it's making calls.
It's not just mirrored.
Or it's making calls to it at least. Yeah,
exactly. So it's very interesting development. I think it's kind of a huge deal. It changes, I think, the app outlook and sort of the usability outlook for Chromebooks. I mean, far more. I think a Chromebook would be far more useful if I could run Android apps on them.
Yeah, and it's already wildly successful for like the cheap laptop market.
Yeah. So that's interesting, but they didn't really say a lot about it. And somebody's actually saying to me they were installed. I mean, by the way, in the midst of this, there were things I missed because we were actually working trying to get data up. So somebody said they're installed on the Chromebook.
Okay.
So they're installed directly on the Chromebook. So they're running natively there, which is fantastic. By the way, people on Twitter highly helpful for these
thank you.
details. You were watching much more closely, but. So that's great, but it's early. They didn't have a lot to say about it. I mean, they weren't like, okay, this is coming.
And it's like
this year.
They weren't showing a new Chromebook. There's no Chromebook Pixel or anything like that.
No, they didn't show any new Chrome, and there was no real hardware. I mean, they didn't show any new hardware at all.
No Nexus.
This is typically they don't show hardware here.
Right.
They have done in the past. They've done. I believe they did Nexus 7 last year, or was that the year before?
I think it was the year before. They did Nexus 7, Nexus Q, and Nexus 4
But don't remind me of the Nexus Q. Speaking of the Nexus Q, they did Android TV.
Yes.
We called it. We had an exclusive on. We got some documentation that we published on Android TV, so we knew this was coming. Basically, they're saying, hey, we're going to do Android for the living room, and a full version. This is not the Chromecast where you're basically just streaming. Right. You're basically just streaming from a device to something that's plugged into your TV. This is a full version of Android that's being run on your television. It's either, did they say how it's coming to your TV?
Yes.
We know that Razer is doing a little gaming box.
Razer and Asus are making set-top boxes.
Right.
Sony, I want to say Philips maybe also, are doing TVs. The 2015 lineup will include Android TV integrated.
Yeah. And so
this is all over again.
So I think that actually the big thing here is gaming. They're kind of pushing gaming for these set-top boxes and for these televisions, and that's not something we've seen Google do before. They clearly see that there seems to be some interest at least. I don't think the Ouya was a huge success, but clearly people are going after this more casual gaming space, and maybe even not as casual gaming. Based on some of the demos that they showed.
Well, and this is something I think David or Dieter once said in the live blog. These are Android games. They're good, but they're not mind-blowing. It's casual. This is a little better than what we're seeing with Fire TV, which is Amazon's kind of half-assed addition to the gaming set-top scene.
Right. Yeah, I think that, will it catch on? Do people want this? Are people... they're buying Rokus a little bit. They're buying Apple TV a little bit. They're apparently buying Chromecast.
Oh, they're buying a lot of Chromecast.
Do they want, is Android TV something they're thinking about, something they want, something that feels like a vital part of their TV world? I'm not sure that it does.
It's tough because I think, and this is something we came up from the Fire TV, which everyone was saying, if you have a Roku or Apple TV and you're happy, you're set.
Right, you don't need it. It's essentially the same functionality.
Right, if you're starting from scratch, that's where it becomes interesting.
And you're dealing with a new ecosystem. You're talking about buying from Google Play.
Exactly.
They didn't make any mention of, presumably Amazon can have an app here. Google has been far less restrictive than anybody else in this department. Well, certainly less restrictive than Apple. So presumably there'll be an Amazon app on here. There certainly is on Roku.
Right.
And so, I think that there's some, this is pretty impressive though, what we're seeing right now. This is, I think the big question is, can they make it into something more than just a TV box? Can they make games matter for this thing? And I don't know that that's the case. And
going back to Android L, because this is running the Android L developer platform, if you make a game for Android TV, it's probably going to work on the Android.
Well, I think that's exactly what they're saying. I think they're saying that
it's a huge sell for
that it's build once, deploy in a bunch of different places.
And I think there was some statistic that came out recently. It was it's a mind-blowing number of people. It's freeware. That's the biggest thing for Google. So the games are coming, but iOS is still the big pusher for games.
Right.
And this is a way to this is a way to get ahead of it.
But this is interesting too, as well as you've got this you sort of interactivity between tablets and a controller. It's a cool idea. Will it take off? Do people want or need this? I don't know. I don't know that it's really, this stuff has caught on at all. I know that there are certain, I have several boxes in my living room. Right. You probably do.
Way more than I should.
But we're not normal people.
No.
Normal people are just they're still, the complexity of something like this is just not attractive to them.
But the sell is, if you do not have a box and you're starting fresh, which are going to be a lot of people, especially not us, but other people.
I don't know those people.
The Android TV could be a compelling case. It's a cheap box. It does the Chromecast stuff, so if you have your browser open,
it just doesn't feel to me. It doesn't feel. If Apple does something in the fall with TV, that's moves the needle at all, I think it's going to be tough for anybody to be in that space and make an effective argument. But that's a big if, because Apple hasn't done anything that's necessarily. We don't know what Apple's doing at this point. There's been a lot of rumoring, and they've yet to do anything that is moving the needle, really.
No, and the big Apple rumors have been an Apple TV, either game system or TV set.
Yeah. And by the way, the Apple TV,
or an Android Watch.
Going back from the Roku, the Apple TV interface, that's got to change. I'm assuming it just is, but it is not fun to use. It is not an enjoyable experience, and I think that that's a place where Google has an advantage. This interface looks a million times better than what Apple is doing as far as interfaces are
And also,
concerned.
you can just use your phone.
Right,
too.
the interactivity with the phone or even a watch,
Right.
if you've got one, is really interesting. I mean, this is something I'm interested in, and the question is, how do they sell it to the average consumer?
Right.
You know, you've got all these, people are buying smart TVs with software already on them, some version of, you know, it's some variation of what they're doing with Android TV, essentially. Are people paying attention, you know? Are they thinking about this stuff? I mean, they've done a good job marketing the Chromecast. If they can market this the right way, I think it can be a success, but it is going to require some real work from Google to sell this.
They're basically saying this is a Chromecast, but also plays games, and if you don't have your phone with you, you got Netflix and Hulu.
Yeah.
And that's in a nutshell what this is doing.
So that's Android TV, and then protesters.
Yeah, protesters.
Google announced a series of protesters today.
Yeah.
No, they had several people protesting. The first person was a woman protesting the event because of the housing situation in Silicon Valley.
Is that what she said? I could not hear her to save my life.
I believe the first one was about the bad housing shenanigans that are happening in Silicon Valley, which a lot of people blame Google for.
Among others.
Among others, but Google seems to be kind of the lightning rod for a lot of the stuff. And the second protester, correct me if I'm wrong, but was shouting about Google making killer robots.
I
mean, he definitely, there he is.
That, yeah.
There he is. And I can't help but feel slightly responsible.
I was going to say the same thing.
For this particular protest, because yesterday we published a story.
It's a narrative.
Which is, can we get that up on the screen, which was called, hey, remember that time Google accidentally made Skynet?
Right.
And it actually, and that was born out of, it was a little bit of like fan fiction from Brian Bishop, but it was born out of this conversation we were talking about all the stuff that Google, TC did that, all the stuff that Google was making, and I said, you know, it's weird, but they kind of have all of the things you need to build Skynet. I mean, they actually are laying the groundwork for really what Skynet is in the Terminator movies, and one thing led to another, and then we had a protester at the Google event yelling about killer robots. I mean, they did buy military robot.
Scary.
Company,
the things we've told for years how scary these Boston Dynamics are. That's what it's called, right?
Boston Dynamics.
That's not the fringe science fiction company. That's Massive Dynamic.
No, you're right. Boston Dynamics is by Dynamics is the company that you're thinking.
In Fringe? No.
No, I don't know about Fringe. Okay, I don't watch garbage. All right.
That is
bullshit.
I'm
kidding. I know Fringe is. I know people are gonna freak out on me. No, I've never seen an episode of Fringe, so I can't really speak to it. Here's Boston Dynamics Wildcat here. Just just something Google needs for its stuff that it's doing.
Let's put Android Lollipop on that.
Yeah,
it likes that lollipop.
But you know, seriously, here's the thing. This guy, here's what this guy could be doing. You know, taking walking tours of cities, going into shops, shooting like shop view and street view, and doing all that stuff. I mean, I think
because when I'm at Macy's, I want to see that going down the lane.
If you cover this in fur and put some like googly eyes on it, it wouldn't seem that terrifying. I don't think it would. You'd be like, oh, look at this cute. I mean, you want to put it in fur that's like blue or something, so you didn't think it was an actual animal.
I don't know.
I think this is kind of cute and adorable, and I'd like to hug it.
Your description,
hug it and kiss it.
All I can think about is like that Simpsons episode, Treehouse Heart. God, I can't believe referencing The Simpsons.
I'd like to curl up next to that at night.
With the cute Krusty doll that turns its head and the nice little cute smile goes,
I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about The Simpsons right now?
I'm talking about The Simpsons.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's fine.
I haven't watched The Simpsons in 20 years. Yeah. It's been on the air for 50 years, and I haven't watched it for 20. But you know, it was a weird event for Google, in that they didn't have anybody skydive.
Yeah.
They didn't have any ending bits with Larry where he talked about Google Island or anything. Right. They didn't really. There were no. I mean, the biggest thing that they announced was this new design language, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That really is the most notable piece of this, and I think it's great. I'm excited to check it out.
And real quick, just to catch everyone up, so what we're hearing.
I'm getting something from
Dieter Bohn should be joining us sometime in the next 15 minutes.
15 minutes. What am I going to talk about for 15 minutes?
I don't know.
We've already burned through all of our topics here. You've literally been on the air for 10 minutes or something.
No, how long has it been? 10 minutes.
Has it been?
Like 30.
It feels like it's been just a moment with this audience, with this wonderful audience.
Yeah,
I could spend all day and all night with them.
And
the Boston Dynamics robot that I was just
cuddle up with
talking
the
about.
version.
Yeah. But okay, so we're gonna actually speak to Dieter, who's at the event live in about 15 minutes.
Right.
I think we should just take questions from Twitter right now. What do you want to know? What do you want us to talk about right now? What would you like to hear?
While you're asking, while the questions are coming, I do want to talk about the other things that were not there. Google Glass completely missing.
There was no Google Glass.
Right.
I don't know I'm not sure what the genesis of the issue is with Google Glass at this point. I feel like, here's the thing that I've always felt about Google Glass, that Google did this thing and it ended up taking off a lot more than they expected it to.
Right.
The Google Glass was one of their weird experiments, and for some reason it just took off and people got very excited about it, and I think they felt like they had to keep talking about it and promoting it.
Even though
it's not really like a central, I don't think it's a really central product to what Google does.
I don't know.
I mean, it will be part of the Skynet system. Yeah. But somebody wants to know why I'm back with an iPhone. Look, I use a lot of different devices, okay? I like to stay fresh and updated.
How many do you have on you right now? I've seen you
have several devices in my pants right now. Okay. No, I mean, but you gotta use everything. Next it'll be Windows Phone. Then it'll be Firefox OS for the phone. Then whatever they call it.
You can carry a giant web
then it's
TV
going to
with
be.
you.
Then I'm going to go back to my Asha S40. All right, I'm getting some questions here.
Okay.
Let's see if any of them are. Oh, did I test drive the Moto 360? Well, if anybody, I think somebody's asking about the Moto 360. I mean, let's just say that I'm familiar with the 360.
Okay.
I can't say much more about that. But it is a beautiful device. Somebody just said, can you talk about how beautiful it is? And I will say that of all of these Android Wear devices that we've seen, and having seen this up close and personal, the 360 is far and away the device that I think people are going to want to wear.
Compared to these three, at least.
Yeah. I mean, the stuff that looks like a digital watch, like you've got to really be interested in wearing something like a digital watch and get excited about it. The 360 really legitimately looks and feels like a regular watch on your wrist.
Okay.
And I think that that's a big selling point. And I think that the fact that so many people were sort of upset when they said that it wasn't available immediately is a great example of just how important that device is going to be for Android Wear in general.
Right, and you remember when they came up with it, the story wasn't just Android Wear; it was the design and hardware of Moto 360. Motorola's really playing up that part of it. It's like we're trying to make a pretty watch that just happens to run Android Wear.
Yeah. No, I mean, and I think that hopefully we see other manufacturers do a circular display and do. I would like to see other watch designs that are more traditional, but not. This one's just very, very plain, very basic.
Yeah.
I think you could do a lot with it. It's a bit big too. I'm interested to see if they can do a slightly smaller version, but that's just one man's opinion. Somebody asked about Android One, which is a project. For building, and Google's building its own.
This is the third, not third world market, but the developing countries.
Developing countries. Third world is actually pejorative and has been deprecated.
Guys, I'm really
just
sorry.
So you know. So please apologize to our viewership. For developing nations, developing countries, they're working on lower cost handsets that are actually designed for those particular markets. Sundar was talking about a device for the Indian market that was dual SIM, had FM radio, just certain things that you're going to think every country, every region has its own needs. Google is thinking about that. Presumably they're also working on, not presumably, they are also working on building a Android to fit pretty much any device. And that's been an ongoing project. For Google generally, but I think they're now aiming really specifically at lower end devices that are much more affordable and that can be, that can give you a great experience without having to have massively powerful hardware.
That reminds me, Google Fit.
Oh right,
Sorry,
Google Fit.
Completely weird.
We didn't even talk about Google Fit. So Google Fit is their health platform.
Yes.
Basically, it's their health.
It's just
kit. It's their health kit. I feel like it's weird. I mean, are Apple and Google talking more? Because I feel like there are so many similarities between the Apple event and the Google event. I mean, it could just be an accident, or it could just be Google trying to sort of get in on some of the
yeah,
stuff
or
that Apple
even the
is doing.
stories around it, because it's like, oh, well, Apple's rumored to have a TV and a watch, and Google's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, here's our TV and watch, by the way. We're doing the same thing. Don't forget about us.
No, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the problem now is you've got, everything has to be, I just wish everything didn't have to be about these competing, these warring platforms. You know what would be great is if Google and Apple were like, hey, listen, we're going to create an open standard for exchange of this data. Because what happens is like, it's like, oh, well, we're building these devices for Apple's health thing and doctors are using this thing. And then other doctors will be using the Google thing. And all of a sudden you have, you've got, look, I need to get my glucose levels to my doctor and I can't do it because he's on iOS.
Or he's on Android.
Or whatever it is. I think it's when it comes to your health, there should be some open standard. You know what we should do? Let's have the government create an open standard for health data. They did such a great job with healthcare.gov. I feel like how could this possibly go wrong?
For a second, I thought you were being serious.
Well, actually, there is an argument to be made that there should be some group of technologists should get together and say, let's create an open standard for exchange of health data because it's actually really important to the future of humanity, in my opinion.
Who was it that was doing it?
We don't really have that.
There was one big health firm that was a part of HealthKit. Was it Mayo Clinic? Yeah, Mayo Clinic.
Yeah, but I'm saying...
I know.
You get that Mayo Clinic buys in on HealthKit, then somebody else buys in on on Google Fit. Next thing you know, it's bedlam.
Well, to be fair,
it's total terror.
It's total madness. But Nike, who has long been an Apple supporter, and obviously Tim Cook is a big Nike fan, Fuel is a part of this health initiative, this Google Fit initiative. You can actually use the Fuel score and track that throughout whatever Google Fit platform thingamajig is going to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just think that all I'm saying is I'm just calling for people to be reasonable.
Right.
Human beings need to get their data out there to doctors and also out into the cloud for hackers to get. So they can hack their pacemakers.
Right. Well, it's fortunate because my is
that a thing? That is a thing.
My password is always my glucose level, so if someone does get that, I'm veritably fucked, and also dying.
Wait a second. Somebody just say Google Drive just did a one more thing. What is it?
No.
This better be good. I don't know how Google Drive can do anything because it's an inanimate.
Oh, they literally just said one more thing.
Oh yeah, look at that. New home screens on the web.
Okay.
Whoa. Oh, okay. So there's kind of a Drive redesign. That's interesting. We're just learning that right now.
Which is material design.
Firsthand. Which is it material design?
It looks like it.
I don't think so. It is similar. Yeah, I guess it is. Sure. Anyhow, I think the design is that to me is the most exciting thing they talked about today.
Right.
And I feel like it's really fresh. Like fresh in the kind of slang use of fresh, and also
so fresh and so clean.
Yeah, exactly. But fresh also like it's like a like you got some celery and you just ran it under cold water, and you took it out of the refrigerator so it's cold and crisp. I'm actually a little hungry. This might be, but you know what I'm talking about. You know when you bite into a cold piece of freshly washed celery and you're like, oh man, that is like a refreshing experience.
If I say no, that's more reflective of my dietary problems.
That's a refreshing experience that is just filling my mouth with pleasure. You don't ever feel that way when you bite into celery? Am I the only person?
No. Maybe it's add a little bit of peanut butter. Sure.
No. Ugh, come on. You don't mess up a beautiful piece of celery with peanut butter.
You absolutely
maybe
mess
if you're
up
5 years old or something. Hold on a second. Somebody asked me to tweet the Google Drive link.
Okay.
I'm gonna do it.
Do it.
That's live tweeting right there.
This is interesting. We've been talking a lot.
Look at this. Look at that beautiful calculator. Oh. Look at that sexy calculator. I just want to make love to that calculator. By the way, somebody mentioned that Matthias today looked like somebody from Pan Am in the Hunger Games, and I have to say, like, he definitely looks like, what is the name of the head game guy in the first Hunger Games movie? Played by Wes Bentley.
Right.
He kind of has like some crazy like facial hair going on.
Yeah, control room, please look up.
And he also is wearing like kind of a futuristic, Matthias style outfit.
It's just no, not that one.
Wrong. Wes Bentley. You got to find Wes Bentley.
Facial hair.
That's what I'm talking about. You failed me. You've really failed me in the control room, I got to say. That was that guy is whatever. He's the TV show's name is like Tally something or other.
I
just made that up. That may not be right.
It's Lee Stanley Tucci, right?
Just do a search for Hunger Games Wes Bentley. I'll give you $5 a there if you can do it. Look at these. I can see them furiously typing in the control room right now.
Wait. Am I
There we go. There we go. So can we get a picture of Matthias up
just
next
go back
to him?
And forth.
I do feel like, look, you got it. No problem.
I'm fine. I'm going to go Google Pro.
Can anybody tell me this guy? Oh, Seneca Crane. Somebody just said is his name.
Seneca Crane. Like, okay.
Somebody just asked that I take off my shirt, by the way, for the people. I don't know if this is related to Hunger Games or not, but I'm considering it.
Just one button at a time.
Just one slope. By the time this broadcast is over, I will be 100% shirtless. Don't hold me to that. Anyhow, Seneca Crane and Matthias Duarte, I feel like there's a little bit of a... Did we get the side-by-side? Did that ever happen?
I think they're working on it.
What's happening? I feel like you guys are really slipping. Since we've not been doing the Verge cast, you can tell that they're off their game.
Yeah.
These guys have like just don't know how to
We've been taking it very easy here in the studio.
They don't know how to do this to get it happening. You know what I mean?
Oh, they snapped.
Still nothing. unbelievable. I'm disappointed. And I blame Billy Disney. You can email him at billy@theverge.com and tell him how you feel about this. Tell him how you feel about this disgraceful lack of graphics on this broadcast.
We will have hopefully in a second, Billy. I'm going to do this little ear thing to you. Hopefully you get it. Hands-on from Google I/O. Hopefully we can show that soon.
Who's that?
Who's that?
Who's doing a hands-on?
I don't know.
There's stuff you see. Here's the thing. As we speak, there are people on the ground at I/O, not us. But there are other people, human beings, from The Verge.
We're home. We're
furiously working to get you more content. We know how much you love content. Furiously working to get you bigger, better, meatier, juicier stories. I am definitely hungry.
Yeah.
I'm definitely starving. You know, this is what happens when you only have a little snack and then you sit through a long Google event. It was long.
Oh, it was so long.
I don't understand why Google can't get this right.
Well,
I mean, that stuff they were doing, like some of the stuff they were showing was definitely in session territory. I mean, let me just explain to people who don't understand. Yeah. A developers conference has sessions that follow the main event, right? They have this keynote as a kickoff thing, and then they do sessions with developers. They break out, they go through new things that they're working on, they want to share with developers. Totally a great idea. There is a way to communicate what your thing does and why people should be excited about it without having to show the functionality of it straight through.
Yeah.
And so like I just feel like Google needs to get a little bit better at demonstrating those things without going into a full-blown like session-style demo. Do we have the Seneca Crane, Matthias Duarte side by side yet? Because I was just thinking about it in the back of my mind and getting angry again, wondering why it's taking so long.
This is clearly the most important thing to do right now.
Yeah.
No, we also we were just publishing the hands-on with Google Android TV.
Okay, we've got a hands-on with Android TV. It's exciting.
Video will hopefully be coming soon. But
I need to get a hands-on with this L version of Android. Does anybody know how I can do that right this second?
Is the developer preview out now, or is it coming out?
Is there a developer version of it that I can sink my teeth into?
I'm sure there's somebody
like a delicious piece of celery. I mean, for all the time it took you, extremely bad quality work. I just want to say, for the time it took you to produce this image on the screen, I should have seen more. But I will say, there is a striking resemblance here. Striking resemblance. And I think we should take note of that.
We really should have
and frankly heed, you know, the possible message.
Right.
Which is, you know, we've already talked about Google becoming, building Skynet. Could they actually end up creating a Pan Am style situation?
Do you want the Hunger Games?
Could they create the Hunger Games? I mean, think about it. Actually, you know, they wipe out a lot of the U.S. citizenry with Terminators.
Okay.
And then they subjugate them. Google Island is actually in Colorado.
It's like the
a city, a glorious, shining city unto itself. And then the rest of America is broken up into what do they call them? Districts. And every year we have to go fight in the Hunger Games. It's not so far off from reality, I think, possibly, but probably is very far off. So anyhow, I'm way off topic now.
Yeah.
Are there any snacks? Does anybody have any celery here that could be brought in?
And maybe not celery. I'm sure there are chips. But while we're doing that, we do have the Android TV hands-on, which just got posted. If we can take a look at that now.
Can we take a look at the video of the Android TV hands-on? I'd love to see this. I'm just gonna cue that.
So we're here at Google I/O in San Francisco, where Google just announced Android TV. It's a big update to the long-standing Google TV platform. It's basically part of their initiative to have Android everywhere, and it starts off with a TV interface and a remote app on their phone, which has the basic, D-pad controls. And along with that, there's a new gamepad controller because Android is showing off lots of games on the TV. So with this you can go across the interface. At the top, it has suggestions for content that you may want to watch or view from Google Play TV, YouTube, Travel Channel, other options like that. And if you move down, you can see all the apps that have been installed. You can use the Google Play Store to add more, but it has your typical options like Netflix, YouTube, Showtime, as well as other things like Eat24, which they showed off on stage, and there's a special link for Google Play Games. The games are broken out into a separate category down here. You can see all the games installed on the TV and jump into the most recently played games here. The TV box itself that's running is a reference platform that Google built specifically to let developers start programming with Android TV, and the controller is the same deal. And that's basically it for Android TV. All in all, it seems like this is probably Google's best effort yet at building a TV interface that people will want to use. And it seems like it might actually be a good way to bring casual gaming to the big screen in your living room as well. Certainly a better effort than Google TV we've seen thus far, and given Google's success with Chromecast over the last year, this could be their next big thing.
Here's my question. One, why didn't Google build an actual box and give that box to all the developers there today? Do we know?
No.
They're not giving that box out to developers, right?
That's not coming until, like, it says like it's coming out in the fall with developer preview of
I don't have time to wait. I don't have time to wait for the fall, okay? So the first question is, why don't they actually just make a box? Right. The second thing that it's not a question, but I was just thinking, they did Google TV, Nexus Q, and Chromecast. So this is their fourth attempt to do something for television.
Yeah.
Was the Q it did do video, right? Mm-hmm. It wasn't just an audio device.
It did YouTube.
Did it just do YouTube?
I think just YouTube.
We have a Q somewhere in this office.
It's literally a doorstop somewhere on the 8th
Someone's
floor.
actually using it as a doorstop?
Yeah.
It's on this floor?
I think so. No. It's up on 9.
Is it upstairs?
Someone's got to find it.
That's like that's a cool, weird thing to have.
I think it's pretty. It lights up nice. I mean.
Lights up nice.
Lights up nice.
Really? Did Evan hack it? He probably did.
Probably did.
Oh, there it is. But so they've made a lot of attempts to do this, and my God, I hope they get it right this time. Here's my question: universal search for content? Does it have universal search?
No.
Do we know?
Wait. Does Android TV or does Q?
This is why we need an expert on the ground in San Francisco, but unfortunately I don't know that Dieter is going to be able to break away from all this action. We've actually just gotten word that Dieter may not be able to join us for this broadcast. He has been punched violently by other members of the team there for canceling on us.
A protest has broken out.
A protest has broken out, protesting the lack of Dieter on this broadcast. But I think that the Android TV stuff looks interesting. I feel like they've only taken it halfway.
Right.
I know that Google wants to do this thing where their partners make stuff for them, but I don't know. It might be time for Google to take the first party game more seriously.
Yeah.
That's just one man's.
I'll have to wait and see. Let's start wrapping up.
Should we wrap up? Is there anything else that we didn't cover? Oh, a couple of people mentioned this AirPlay, the sort of AirPlay-like mirroring.
To
the Chromecast. I think that's very cool. They were already doing tab mirroring from browsers, from Chrome. So from devices kind of makes sense. Mm-hmm. I don't know how that's going to feel in the real world.
Right.
I'm going to have to just go test it immediately, though you can't. They showed. I will say that some of the not to go back to the design stuff, but some of the performance that we saw in the material design demos, and some of the performance that you can see now with the quiz I was talking about on the web, suggests a kind of new era for how we think of app design and web design, native versus web. And I'm actually really excited about that because it's it seems like a really impressive and powerful platform to be harnessing. And it brings all of their products together in a real material way. No pun intended, but so I think all in all, here's my take on it, because we do have to wrap up.
And then we will end on a supercut of the
whole
thing.
We have a supercut already?
Already.
Here's my take on it. I think the design is extremely strong. I right now for a mobile platform, I don't think there's anybody who is as focused and doing as good in terms of design as Google is right now.
Okay.
Especially cross-platform. I mean, I think there are places in iOS that work. There's a lot of stuff that still doesn't work. In iOS 8, we didn't see any significant changes to that. I think the notifications is as an example, not to go back to iOS on that, but how they're continuing to develop notifications in Android is really impressive. And some of the ways that they're tying in, was that will or won't?
Will not.
Will not.
Sorry, guys.
Some of the ways they're tying it. Sorry, I just got a message in my ear about Dieter, and I couldn't make it out if he was going to actually join us or not. Some of the ways that they're utilizing some of the new APIs, the calls they're making, where you can load straight from a web page into an app on Android, to me seems extremely powerful.
Right.
So I think that they're making the right moves in that space. I think that they still have this. They don't. I mean, one of the most compelling things that Apple did at WWDC was to show us how connected this family of products can be. They really brought together the phones and the desktop and frankly the cloud for the first time in any really meaningful way. And you started to see how Apple could do that ecosystem really right and make all that stuff talk to one another. And even with CarPlay, they showed that you could do it in a car as well. Android has that going for it. Google has it going for it across these platforms right now, but it just doesn't feel like it's as cohesive or clean or clear in a lot of ways on how it's going to, all these things will talk and play.
And here's my theory to wrap up, because there was so much they didn't bring up. ATAP, Project Aura, Glass, a lot of the final deliverables with Wear and TV. I would imagine there's another event coming. This would be a little bit atypical of Google, but I imagine we'll see something else along the time when Android L becomes Lollipop or Lemonhead or
Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing that somebody
no.
tweeted a picture of a woman eating celery at me, and I have to say that celery looks amazing. Although celery basically has no caloric content whatsoever, so it wouldn't really help that much. It's a good snack if you're dieting. I'm not. I'm ready to eat just about anything. I'm ready to go totally ballistic on some food. Hey, what do we think about the new iconography at the bottom of Android?
Nice and pretty. What about the fonts?
Well, somebody mentioned to me that if you're confused about the share icon in iOS 7, these icons at the bottom of Android are going to be really confusing. But I have to say they're only a slight deviation from the current iconography in Android right now in KitKat. So it doesn't strike me as tremendously difficult to understand. But there is a learning curve to begin with when you get onto Android.
Right.
You have to understand the back button does this, and that home icon takes you here, and this thing loads up multitasking. Let's talk about multitasking really quickly. Did they just blow multitasking on Android, by the way?
What do you mean?
Because this interface that they have, the new multitasking interface, have you guys seen this? It looks a little bit like the new Safari view for tabs in iOS.
Yes.
But the idea that you would want to stack a bunch of your apps and not be able to see any of them and have to swipe through them to find the thing you're looking for is a little bit insane. I mean, what they have going right now actually makes some sense.
Counter argument though is you can see 10 more apps at once. Just look at the
can't really see the apps because they're buried behind. I mean, can we get a screenshot of the multitasking view before we sign off? We can round this out to a nice hour of us just BSing if you can find this graphic. Can you get Wes Bentley overlaid on top of the multitasking?
And can Wes Bentley be eating celery?
Can I get it? I'd like to see Wes Bentley eating celery while multitasking with the new version of Android. Is that possible? Because that's what I'd like to see today. Nice. Anyhow, but if we can get but the multitasker looks like they maybe have ruined some of the multitasking for Android, in my opinion. Because it was very clear before.
Let's see the picture. I don't know.
I'd love to see the picture, but this is like a Seneca Crane situation where we may never get it up on screen. Right now, our poor viewers, tens of thousands, tens of dozens of viewers.
Tens of thousands
is it? Is it tens of thousands?
It's, give or take.
I'm so sorry, guys.
I'm highballing.
So sorry. Are waiting to see this. They're dying to see the multitasking.
They can't find it anywhere else.
Cannot find an image of it.
Lord knows we can't.
Just put up Seneca Crane while you're looking for it, at the very least. Could we get a picture of Wes Bentley while we're looking for it? Poor Billy, look at him in there.
Yeah, poor guy.
Just searching his little heart out.
Real quick. Nest.
No mention of Nest.
Nothing in Nest.
No mention of home automation.
No
mention of anything about Dropcam, which Nest just bought.
Oh, that's right.
Nothing really that even indicated that they're interested in the home. I think you know, it's weird, but I think they're aligning themselves to an Apple schedule, and they're doing very much. They're basically copying WWDC, where they're saying like, oh, here's some stuff for developers. This will lay the groundwork, and then they're talking about this fall date, and they're saying. You know, we're going to show you more stuff in the fall. Maybe that means they're going to show us some Nest integration. They're going to show us some home automation. They're going to show us actual products as opposed to these, you know, phantom products.
That would be very nice.
Really, no, can't find the multitasking. They're
looking. They're looking.
There's literally several people now frantically searching. I bet you if I took 1 second right now, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to neglect our viewers.
Or embarrass.
But if I were just to break away for literally a single second, I could immediately pull up. I will never be able to prove this out, unfortunately, but I think that I'd be able to pull out the multitasking view. All right, you know what? It looks like we're just going to have to wrap up. It looks like we're never going to get to the multitasker.
You can find it yourself at.
You can find Verge.com. We have several articles on the. I agree with somebody just said it's taking too long, and I agree with you. We have several articles, many articles today about what all of Google's announcements. Go to theverge.com, read all about it. We have a bunch of Verge update videos, probably some more on the way. We're doing hands-ons right now, and. Anyhow, it's a big day of news for Google. Yep. But did they achieve what they needed to achieve today? I'm not sure what that was. At the very least, I'm excited about checking out the new version of Android, and I think that's the best you can possibly.
I am much tinier comparison.
Yeah,
not just shorter, but really, like literally my face
like a little, like my
mini.
son. You're like my little with a beard.
Oh, Dad.
My teenager, always giving me guff. All right, anyhow, this is a bad and dark way to end.
Very dark way to end.
The Verge Live at Google I/O. But that's it. No thanks to Dieter Bohn for not showing up. Guy was too busy getting you news. But still, you know, still he should pay in some way. Ross, as always, it's been a true pleasure to work with you.
It's been a thing that happened.
It really was a thing that we did today.
Oh, multitasking. I like that.
Oh, there it is. There's the multitasker.
That.
That's completely insane. These guys are high and drunk if they think that's a good way to multitask. I mean, they are seriously smoking some good shit. And by the way, they probably are because they're in California where weed is basically legal.
It's decriminalized.
Decriminalized at the very least. Anyhow, and thank you guys for watching.
Thank you, really, seriously.
We love doing live post-game wrap-ups for you. And that's it.
We just like to sit around a table talking.
Now I'm going to go get some celery.
Yeah. So please.
And by the way, several people on Twitter found the multitasking before our guys did. So I'm going to. There's gonna be several canings tonight when all is said and done.
This is true.
That's how we deal with
contractually obligated. Please enjoy a 9-minute supercut of the 3-hour press conference.
No, not a 90-minute, 90-second.
9-minute.
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 Oh, we're ending on that?
We're ending on the supercut.
Oh, okay. We have a supercut. We have a
efficient.
supercut of the 3-hour event. If you could possibly watch it,
stay in 9 minutes.
We've got 9 solid minutes of everything that you would need to know. So take a look at this, and we'll see you guys soon. We'll be back, I'm sure, very soon.
Very soon.
I/O is when we talk about our 2 large computing platforms, Android and Chrome. We are very excited. As of this year's I/O, we are over 1 billion 30-day active users. They take around 93 million selfies every day. The team tells me about 31 million of these are duck faces. User experiences are evolving rapidly, and we wanted to rethink the user design experience in Android to have a fresh, bold, and new look.
Android, Chrome, and across all of Google to craft one consistent vision for mobile, desktop, and beyond. And this led us to a way of thinking that we call material design. Those seams and shadows provide meaning about what you can touch and how it will move. And we've also updated our system font, Roboto, so that designers and developers can use one typeface designed and optimized for every screen, from your watch to your laptop to your television.
So another area where we've improved the user experience on L is around notifications. I can double tap on a notification to launch the corresponding app, or if there's something I don't need, I can just dismiss with a single swipe. And to unlock the phone, well, this is just a notification shade, so you just swipe it away and you're straight into the device. So from here, I can keep going, or if I want to act on it, I can answer it, or if I'm busy, swipe it away. And what you're about to see is Epic's Unreal Engine 4 desktop rendering pipeline running on Android L on the latest NVIDIA tablet hardware. We have a bit of a flicker here. And we've worked hard to make sure that the battery keeps up with the performance. So Battery Saver allows you to clock down CPU, the refresh rate, even turn off background data to conserve battery. So Battery Saver is really great if you're about to embark on a long hike or maybe a long protest, and you say you want the battery to last even longer.
Both with L Release and Chrome, we are bringing a whole set of new experiences to many connected screens around you.
We're right at the beginning in a new phase in the miniaturization of technology, which means that it's finally possible to make a powerful computer small enough to wear comfortably on your body all day long. Here's a live demo on the LG G Watch. You can see that it has an always-on display that at any given time shows you the most important thing we know for you. Swiping up and down navigates you through this stream of cards, which includes information from Google Now, apps running on Jeff's phone, and apps running directly on the wearable itself. You can see that there's a broad selection of analog and digital designs in a variety of styles to suit your tastes. When you swipe away a notification on the watch, it disappears from the phone. And when Jeff receives a phone call, he can either swipe to reject the call from his wrist or swipe up to choose from one of these quick SMS replies. Now you'll see that Jeff has music controls on his watch. He can see what song is playing, he can pause the music or skip to the next track. Jeff can see how many steps he's taken today, along with a step count history for the week. On devices that support it, he can even check his heart rate after a jog. Pinterest can notify him that he's near one of Susie's pinned restaurants, allowing him to quickly glance at the details, then swipe to see a map. And if he likes it, he can start navigation right from his wrist. Today, we're making a full Android Wear SDK available. It enables you to write code that runs directly on the wearable itself. And here I'm presented with a beautiful interface that lets me confirm the kind of food I'd like today. Let's stick with pizza. And then I can quickly swipe to see and repeat my last order. Just one more tap to pay, and the pizza's on its way. When a watch is connected, the wearable portion of the app is automatically installed and kept up to date on that watch. The LG G Watch will be available to order later today on the Play Store. We're very happy that Samsung is joining the Android Wear family with the Samsung Gear Live. And the Samsung Gear Live is also available to order later today. The Moto 360 is the first watch to adopt the round Android Wear UI, and it will be available for sale later this summer. Those are just the first 3 watches.
Cars are an integral and essential part of life, and today we're happy to announce Android Auto. It looks and feels like it's part of the car, but all of the apps we see here are running on Andy's phone. The first thing Andy sees is the overview screen, which shows personal and contextually relevant destinations, reminders, contacts, and music from Google Now and other apps. Andy has access to all of his curated playlists, radio stations, albums, and artists. He can also use voice or the steering wheel controls to control the music in the car.
How late is the De Young Museum open today?
The Young Museum is open from 9:30 a.m. to 5:15 p.m. on Wednesday.
Navigate there.
Navigating to De Young Museum. New message from Hiroshi Lockheimer. Here it is. Andy, are we there yet?
We're starting with a full set of APIs for audio and messaging applications. And the Android Auto experience will be available to users with the public L release later this year. The first cars with Android Auto will be rolling off dealer lots before the end of this year.
So I'm going to talk about a different form factor, and that's TV. Today, we're announcing Android TV. And Android TV requires just a D-pad with voice input. And that can be made available as a hardware remote control, as a game controller, or even a virtual controller on a phone or tablet. And the UI provides a unified view of your channels in a familiar channel hopping UI with the channel information. As I scroll down, you get immediate access to your applications, ordered by how often you use them. Breaking Bad. Google will interpret the result, get me a result for the popular TV show. Now, with one click, I can then watch it in Google Play Movies and TV or any other service that I have installed. So from here, I can actually interact with the TV. With Android TV, we enable you to take your games to the biggest screen in your house. I'm from Ireland, so I don't really understand this game. Android TV includes full Google Cast support, so you can use it just like a Chromecast. I'm super excited to announce that the entire 2015 HD and 4K smart TV ranges from Sony and the 2015 ranges of Sharp and TP Vision's Philips will run on Android TV. And we'll also be seeing streaming boxes powered by Razer, Asus, and others launching this fall.
We're launching a new Google Cast feature that allows you to mirror any Android device to your television. And we're actually going to mirror in live action, which is a little nervous, in live action, all of you on the big screen.
Our journey here began with Chromebooks. Let's say you get an incoming phone call. You will start seeing those incoming call notifications on your Chromebook. If you get a text message, you would see those text messages on your Chromebook as well. We are very, very excited about bringing important favorite Android applications for users straight on their Chromebooks.
And it's been battle tested to run at 1.3 million queries per second.
Today, we're announcing a platform preview of Google Fit. We want to help users keep better track of their fitness goals. You can choose who you share what with, and you can delete your fitness activity whenever you want. Adidas has a collection of smart sensors that they're opening up to developers for the first time. And we're thrilled to announce that Nike is allowing other apps and fitness devices to integrate with Nike Fuel through this API. And of course, there are many, many, many partners that are joining the Google Fit ecosystem.
It's tough to believe that personal computing started only a few decades ago. We feel humbled to be part of this journey with you all, and we look forward to building more amazing experiences with you. Thank you. Have a great conference.